Oh, no worries.
I know where you feel. Well, perfect. Well, hi everyone. I'm Rick. I'm with Propago. So we're a technology partner that's working with Goodway to see if we can provide a solution for Goodway and Hologic in turn. We understand there's a lot of history and a lot of things that have been set up for 10 years on the Goodway system currently, and our system might be slightly different, but we hope we can take a different approach and still meet your same end goals. You know, where Propago kind of came from, just to let you know, our technology's been around for about 20 years, so it's a seasoned technology. We were the internal IT department of a large commercial producer, and then we spun out about 5 years ago to be a standalone software. So we know the space pretty well from not only the marketer side, so your side, but also from the internal operations side of a producer, of a supply chain partner. Where we're a little bit different is we want to be that entire place for your brand. So whether it's print, promo, apparel, digital, we want to be that unified experience. So anybody that you deem necessary to connect to your brand, they go to one interface, one place to go and get all of their stuff. You know, whatever you decide to throw your brand on is really up to you. We want to be that centralized place so your reps or employees or anybody can go to one place to get all their stuff. So with that said, I'm just going to show you, and this was a quick kind of demo site that we worked with Goodway to put up. And, you know, for this example, we kind of segmented. So we don't know, we made some guesses based off your public website on kind of how this stuff falls into categories and stuff. So you know, we took a little bit of liberty on this, but the fundamentals you can kind of see. So I'm logging in as somebody that only has access to breast products right now. So I mean, we can divvy this up depending on whatever your business case is or needs. So you know, a sales rep potentially in one division might not see somebody else's stuff in another division just because you don't want to, you know, cloud up the day. The product's designed from the ground up to be responsive. So if they are running on a phone or an iPad or you know, whatever kind of widget they are, it's going to reshape for them their sizes. Additionally, you'll see over here on the left, we have what we call filters turned on. And those are just dynamic based on what page I'm on, tags that you can put on products to help your end users kind of filter on top of things, right? So just quickly, I can apply different filters and get ready to go. We can hold a lot of information on products, you know, really long descriptions. You can have downloadable PDF straight from here. So this just pulled down that PDF. So if they're just trying to get some digital files, they could go grab them. You can put in item types, commodity codes, just a variety of different settings. So you can kind of control that experience. From a shopping experience, we've gone to great strides to make sure it's not, you know, a printer site. So it's just a shopping experience. If I hit add a cart, I'm starting to populate a shopping cart, and if I've shopped online in the last decade or so, I'm going to be just fine shopping here, right? And that includes an way to get their marketing materials. And really, the three pillars that we've founded our technology on and where we're going is we want to make sure that you can protect your brand. So if you allow any kind of personalization, just like a simple example, like a business card, they can only personalize what you allow them to. We want to protect your budget, so not one user can go in there and spend $10,000 a week. And then we want to protect your inventory, right? So with all those kinds of three things, you know, we back that up in robust approval workflows, order limiters, viewing rights, and then really strong templating software. So if you did allow personalization of products, we can control that experience as well.
So, Rick, I'm sorry. I knew I said I wouldn't interact very much, but I have a question.
Don't worry about it.
When you get to at the very beginning and you choose the division, will we be able, maybe this is more for Rick at Goodway, but the filters, will those be customizable by division, or are you going to have set filters for that just cross the division?
So technically the filters are by product. So essentially these are, and this was just a quick sample. We populated the item type on a product, but it's all relative to what I have access to still. But like holistically, you would want to say, okay, Hologic team across the 4 departments, which that might be the deal break right there. I don't know. but ideally, everybody use item type for this knowledgeable kind of filter by. and these are the values we're going to put in there. And then depending on the access rights of what I have the ability to view as a user, this is going to be a dynamic filter based on that. So fundamentally, like if your department or brand or division, is that the best way? Division? If y'all wanted to use 12 different tags, right, that made sense for you, but a different division wanted to use 8 different ones, really and truly, the only people that are going to see the 20 tags are the people who's got access to both sets of those products, right?
Got it.
Otherwise, I'll only see my 12, or on the other side, I'll only see 8. Does that make sense?
Yep, that answers it. Thank you.
Okay. And then search is extremely powerful, and I know y'all have a very large catalog, which is great, but search becomes more and more critical because you want your end users to know, to be able to get to what they want to go to. So, you know, browsing through 100 different flyers might be a little bit, you know, exhausting for them. And they might be able to type in just a keyword, a product type, a condition. I don't know what's the best, if you were going to be able to establish keywords that would drive people, but we can index keywords, product descriptions, product names. We can look within kits, and all of our search runs on a technology called Elastic, which sits in between our databases and the end user, and it creates these really intelligent kind of text files that bring back relevant base results, right? So if I type in body, it's going to look at how many times body is referenced, who's referencing body, and then go from there. I can even go in here and say, you know, I don't want to see anything that has logic in it, so I can do negative terms as well. And that would just kind of do the reverse and knock out things. So I can daisy chain on top of these searches. And one thing to note is you can see how this item type, the filter, is filtering down at the same time, right? So as I'm changing my result set of products, the filters are changing because it's a dynamic filter, right? So if I clear those tags, now I have all my filters back. Does that all make sense so far?
Rick, can you show people how to create, say, favorites if they have certain documents they always purchase?
So, and that was one of the things we talked about earlier. You know, they logged in as user 1. We're not very original. But if I go in here and say, and I'm hitting this little star, if I always order these 5 products because these are just my go-to, I'm a creature of habit, I can star them so I don't have to search for them every time. And then those are going to appear straight in my favorites section on the site. So I could just quickly go in here. Basically, think of favorites as them creating their own kind of list of stuff that they're going to go back on and order. Additionally, and I don't know if I placed any orders on this user account, but I could show you this on the demo. So I didn't. There's quick reordering as well. So let's just say I'm once again a creature of habit, and once a quarter I order 25 of each of these because this is what I feel comfortable with, and then I could just reorder it once a quarter. Done. Perfect. Okay, so, and this was a user that had access to the breast materials, right? So if I bounce out of here and just come in and emulate this second user we created, and your end users wouldn't see this kind of thing, right? Because they're going to go in and already be one. But you'll see like this experience is different. I'm seeing a different thing. We can do custom HTML landing pages. We can really kind of make this a richer environment. And I don't know which category. What's your name? Hey. We can really make it a richer experience once we get graphics in there, you know, custom footers, custom pages, those kind of things. So that said, if there's no more questions on kind of the whole logic specific ones, I could show you a little bit of our center demo, if that's okay with you. Yeah. So far, are we tracking with an experience or something that might be beneficial to your sales reps or any employee, anybody that wants to connect to your brand? Anybody still there?
Sorry, we were having a different question. I'm sorry. So, sorry, if you go to in again as a user really quick.
Go back into the whole logic one?
Yeah, where it says sold at intact, intact. Is that language customizable too? You're just showing us a demo right now, I'm going to assume.
Yeah, so which language?
Once you go into breast health.
Okay. So this is a breast health one, and breast health actually has subcats. So these are still all categories.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to breast imaging here.
So in your descriptor there above, ships in 5 days, it says sold in Texas 25. Is some of this language customizable?
Yes. So this is a product name right here. So this, you know, we have, and a lot of it can be hidden or shown depending on your liking, right? So we have list views, we have graphical views. This is the SKU that we've set up. This is the product name. This is basically if I want to kind of break down how it's packaged, like the unit of measure, right? So these are, and we could change the unit of measure to say, you know, shrink wrapped into 25s versus boxed in 100 or things like that. This is a lead time, so this is a real-time lead time. You don't have to show lead times, but it's smart to know it. So when Goodway has inventory of something, it's going to just say in stock, right? Because it's going to ship now. But if it's something, let's just say, and I know, you know, everybody's in this utopian world, inventory never runs out, but let's just say something terrible happened. Something terrible happened, and we've you know, gapped out of inventory on a certain thing. That's when lead times start popping up, and it's more of just an informative thing to that end user, that sales rep, so they can see it and it's in stock, in stock, in stock. Oh, this one's out of stock, but it'll ship in 5 days. Okay, you know, I might want to do that. I might not. I might want to get a different flyer. Does that answer that question? That was a very long-winded way to answer your question. Is that an answer? Okay, yeah. Perfect. Perfect. So going into, I'm just going to go into our standard demo site, and the core reason I'm coming in here is because I don't know my password. So let me just try to reload that real quick. So coming into here, I just want to kind of drop by and show you a couple things that we have turned on. So first of all, you know, the mention of what we call custom landing pages. So if you want HTML, like you can go in pages deeps into HTML and just create pages, right? You can put, so you'll see like the branding, the look and feel as far as the colors all changed. You can host any kind of product you want to put in here. So whether it's print, promo, apparel, digital, it doesn't really matter. It's meant to be that centralized place. You'll see here that on my view here, I'm seeing all kinds of different things pop, right? So 60 for 300, a secondary name here, minimum orders popping up, ships in certain days, and you'll see it's variable based on different parts, right? Because it knows what that part is configured to do. You can stop people from ordering negative demand, or you can allow back orders. It's all really up to you. From your perspective, kind of from a management perspective, you know, there's a couple different things to point out. So I mean, naturally, if you wanted to have long descriptions, you could have really detailed descriptions. We have two notions of reporting from the front side. So we have what we call dashboards. So dashboards are just kind of saying what's going on a graphical level of who's ordering what, how much, how often, right? And that can break it down by different item types or commodity codes, or you know, look at the data in different ways of slicing. And really this becomes more important when you're trying to plan your supply chain, and you know, are you getting close to what are your current run rates? How much should you reorder? Should you flip to digital, etc.? And going from there, the core reporting engine is the core reporting engine is basically a reporting engine where we have over 50 standardized reports. And what we've done over time is really find out that every client wants to see data differently, which is fine. So what we've done is just created a report engine where I could go in here and just drag and drop and build the report that makes sense for me, right? And that would be for you in this instance. So you go in there and make the reports that you like. You can put filters on it. So I only want to see division X, right? I can share it to different users. I can export it to Excel or PDFs. And I can also create a schedule on this. And essentially a schedule is just saying, hey, you know, I'm not going to log into the system because that's too much. Every Monday morning, I want my summary reports emailed to me, right? So you go create that. Going into something just quickly. So I mean, if you do have promo or apparel stuff, you can put it all in one place, and it's going to be kind of that unified experience. When I'm personalizing things, I don't know if you allow any of your brand materials to personalize today. But our personalization engine is extremely powerful. So this is a sample of a quick business card for Anna Jackson here. The things to note is we showcase the product first and foremost. Secondly, we can hold essentially an unlimited amount of data against users' profiles. So it can auto-populate. So, you know, if Anna's good with her card right now, she doesn't have to do anything. naturally I go in and personalize things, and you can have a lot of different controls here, you know, long text, short text, drop down menus, masks, so everything's always the same. And so it's meant to really protect your brand, right? So I couldn't type anything but numbers there, and then I can lock certain fields or keep certain fields unlocked, and then it's going to go render my art based on my brand, right? So it gives that window to personalize, and then you can see my name went down in a font, and that address block all jump back up. And anything I've done in the past goes in my digital library. So we've been ordering for 20 years here, but these are previous versions I've created, so I can go ahead and reorder those. And that's also housed in my overall library as well. So it's a little bit different than favorites, where library is more anything I've created, right? So I've personalized and created. And with that, you know, I'll take a breath and see which direction you want to look at now.
I think it looks great. I think for Heather and Cindy, the reporting and the ability to customize is going to be awesome. And to pull them when, you know, how and when we need them.
Yep.
But I think it looks cool.
Stellar. Well, that was kind of what we had to show. And you know, if your extended team needs another look at it, we're happy to do something later.
So what is kind of implementation timing and work plans, and you know, when does Hologic get involved? How do you know? I guess, you know, for me, this is really a Goodway project that they need to get set up, and then how do we customize it for us?
Yeah, we haven't really gone that far down the road. The first order for us from our meeting, our QBR meeting, was to look at different solutions, primarily around the website being responsive, and so we haven't really got to the point of selecting and deciding which technology we're going to go with. We're more in the review process right now.
Okay, that's helpful.
And Rick, this is Vic. Can you show folks about like how they can maintain like limits on how much can be ordered over what periods of time and how that works?
Yeah. So one of the things that, you know, where we would want to get in there is really kind of work with the overall business units and figure out what the best structure is kind of globally. But if I have front-end administrative rights, I can go in and look at any of the products. I can do slight editing on the products myself. Not that, you know, you or your team would want to do this, but you can. I mean, the Goodway team would do this as well. But straight from here, like this is a horrible product, but it's a product, right? So I can set my expiration date. So let's just say, and I also don't know if you have like certain dates that products come into play and they need to be turned on and off, but you can set availability dates, reorder points, minimum stock alerts. One of the things that Vic just mentioned is you could get really granular on limits too. Let's just say, you know, for these different groups of users, I only want them to pull out 100 a month, right? So I go in there and create really granular user rights on a group level or a product level. I can also go in there and create different approval triggers. So it might not be as granular as y'all have it today, which is more of like a per product kind of trigger, but we could do it per division. We could route it to 3 people at once. We could do it based on order frequency, if they're ordering too much, if they're ordering a certain dollar amount. So that kind of questioning really gets into play is, you know, kind of what are you trying to limit, you know, holistically on Hologic? Are you trying to protect inventory or spend or frequency or kind of a combination of all of them, to make sure you have those checks and balances into play. So when you do unleash the sales reps on here, like a Kraken, they don't go crazy. From a user, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to just ask, and maybe you're going there now. Like, so if we put some quantity limitations on, and now it needs a administrator approval, based on the user sign-in, will we only see our division data? If we want to put that rule in, I guess. But is that capable of doing that? Because I think right now it's just a great big list of deviations and or, you know, requires approvals, and we sort through it, but if,
Right.
for instance, Heather signed in and it was just diagnostic approvals?
Yeah. So what's going to happen is when Heather signs in, let's say you have 3 people on your team that do the approvals, right? And it doesn't matter whom,
Mm-hmm.
how so. When they log in, they'll have just a pending approval page like this, right, on their account, and only orders that are waiting for them are going to show there. So let's say that, you know, in Hillary's group, she's got 3 people as well that do approvals. They're not going to see each other's, right? It's going to only show orders that the Hillary's group does or your group does, right? Based
So
on their
if
login.
in our group, we have 2 people that would be approvers for the same content, can we have 2 approvers?
Yeah, so the question is do you require both to approve,
No.
or do you require it to go to both and whoever approves first releases it?
Correct.
Yeah, see, so that's what we call it.
Okay.
It's simultaneous approval with only one required, right? So it's going to shoot out to both people at the same time and say, hey, y'all have something to approve. And then whoever grabs that thing first is going to release the order out.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
And then when they're in here, like, I don't know your flow or what you're really looking for on the approval, but the approver, they can go in there and edit stuff. They can drop stuff off. They can add lines. They can change shipping. They can say, hey, you know, I don't want to, they shouldn't be overnighting that. They can do stuff. So they don't have to just flat deny. They can make it better.
Yeah.
More better.
They can make it approvable?
Yeah, exactly. Without having to just deny. Or, I mean, like, it really depends on, and it depends on, you know, how your flow works, right? And kind of how you want to do approval. You know, it might be something where y'all are just watching your sales, and this is our demo side, so Bill requires everything you get approved. But anyway, it might be something where I'm just saying, hey, you know, Bill, I have these 5 orders in here for you, you know, for a total of whatever, $2,000. No, that's too much. I'm just going to reject all of them for you. Try again. Or you go into each one and put comments and things like that. Or you can just edit.
Okay.
Yeah. And the core goal, what we try to do is make sure that we're not dialing the constraints down so far that it's noise. And what I mean by that is you don't want to make it so it's really easy to trigger approvals all the time if you don't need them, right? Or if you find yourself or your team approving 95% of the orders, your approval triggers might be a little too low. Does that make sense? Because you don't want to just default on approval. If that's more of a protection point, and the question is, are you protecting inventory or dollars, or what's the main thing we're trying to protect? And we can work on that. And there's a lot of different ways to skin it. There really is, and there's no right or wrong. But typically when we start talking about approval flows, we say, okay, what's the core goal you're trying to do? And then let's back in on the best way to set up the system to do it. Because one other thing to point out is this money right here could be funny money, right? This does not have to correlate directly to what Goodway is charging HomeLogic, right? This might just be a
I
representation.
wouldn't want any of this to show to the rep.
Yeah,
right?
so you don't have to show
There
price.
are no dollar value. They're not buying anything.
Yeah,
So
you don't have to show
so
price.
that part of it is a little harder, and that's why I asked the question about kind of is there text changes that we can make and so forth, because if they, and clearly we'll communicate that there's a new way of looking at it and all that stuff. We'll go through some training and whatever, but they're not buying anything. Well, at least for our division. I don't know about the other divisions. They may charge their customers for materials that get in, but ours is all internal and they're not paying for anything. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay dollar value to show for them.
Yeah, and that works too. I mean, we've seen it both ways. We've also seen people, you know, marketers set up with valuations in there, but they don't charge it. And the main reason they leave a valuation in there is because if I'm a sales rep, I'm like, oh, this just cost the company $800, right? It didn't cost me anything.
No, I could see that.
Yeah, just so they know that there's value, right? You're not trying to curb their spend, and there's other ways to budget your sales rep. So it's really kind of, you know, net sum game. It's wherever it is.
I had a different question and I totally forgot it now. Okay, it'll come back to me at another time.
Rick, can you explain to folks that, like, during an approval process, how they could edit the order? For example, if someone orders 10 and they only want them to order 5, how they could do that, and basically without having to kick back the order?
Yeah, so if I just go into any of the orders that I'm approving or that are routed to me, I go in here and change quantity. I could change the price, change pretty much anything on it. that I want, if I didn't want this particular line, or if I wanted to add stuff to it because somebody ordered the flyer A and they should always get flyer B with it. You could do that. You can also create, one thing we didn't mention is you can also create kits. So essentially with kits is, these aren't pre-kitted things that are sitting on the warehouse floor already kitted, right? Because that would just be a finished good. This is more when I order this one kit, I'm going to push 3 order lines for these 3 different flyers, right? So you could kind of try to put some similarities together. We've also seen it in what we call dynamic kits, and dynamic kits allows the end user some kind of modification of their kit. So let's just say you had this bang up pocket folder thing, but they wanted to drop a couple flyers out because they didn't like them and add a couple different ones in. You could do things like that, right? So the user can have a little bit more interaction and go from there. Any other questions, thoughts?
I don't have any questions. I just, Vic, I wanted to let you know that I'm really impressed with the system, and especially the reporting. I think it makes it so much easier to be able to drag and drop and make your own reports and be able to push them out. You know, whether I push them out or do a monthly or weekly kind of thing, it's very nice, and that is exactly what I was looking for in a new system. And it's just a much cleaner and easier view for a user. So I'm just want to let you know I'm really impressed.
Great. And yeah, on the reporting, you could set those reports so that they automatically come to you on whatever time frame you want, daily, weekly.
Oh, they're going to go to the marketing managers on it. Exactly.
And you could also set up what we call buyer groups in the platform. This I have it up right here. And this will probably be important for y'all because you have such a large asset catalog, and then you have these different quote unquote product managers, right? But with buyer groups, I could just say like your whole division, we'll tag all your products into one buyer group. We'll say, okay, the managers of this buyer group are you and 3 other folks. And then you can say, hey, I also want alerts, right? So I want to get alerts if anything's back ordered or hitting my min quantity, or, if I'm getting close to net demand greater than 0. So you can get these alerts. So alerts are a little bit different than reports. Reports are more like, daily or weekly. I'm going to get my orders report or my inventory level report. This is more of a, hey, if anything is showing back ordered, I want to get an alert that night, right?
Yep.
So
that's good.
that works differently. And
I think currently they have set it up for us so that we get alerts on things, but it's kind of cool that we can set our own alerts or take alerts off, or you know what I mean? I like that idea.
Stellar. And one of the things we talked about, Vic, so don't hold us to this, but we're also talking about some kind of single sign-on methodology, so your users will automatically sign on. But that has to be hashed out still.
Right. So we can look at just kind of using our WholeLogic username and password to log in like we do to a lot of the other systems that we use. Hillary, anything from the medical aesthetics division on your needs that we didn't maybe hit on or cover? Do you have a question on?
I don't think so. I think how we're using it today is very basic, and I am equally impressed in this, and I think it will be super great, and I love the reporting. I think that would be super helpful for me moving forward of how I'm managing the inventory that I'm ordering and things like that. So I think it's great.
Stellar.
Great. So Mike, we've managed to hit 3 out of the 4 divisions in the last 2 days. So if you have the recording, I'll send it to the breast and skeletal folks and also to corporate marketing folks to get their input, and we'll see if they have any questions. And then you could discuss with myself and with Brian kind of next steps in your evaluation process here, that where you are with that.
Perfect.
Okay, sounds great. Connie will email that link for the recordings for both days to you, Vic, directly once
Okay.
she has them.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, does that work for you, Vic? Is that good?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just distribute it out to everyone.
Yeah. Okay. All right, excellent. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your help,
Thank you very
Mark.
much. Appreciate it.
Everybody have a good weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.